everyone, and today we're back into another top 5. And today we're going to be talking about the top 5 range tanks in all of Loomian Legacy. So, these are only Loomians that are tanking on the range side, so if they're not tanking on the range side and tanked on the melee side, they will not be on this list. I have a video on that already. So, with that out of the way, let's head right onto this top 5. So, number 5 on the list of range tanks is going to be weird because it's Pyrolyn. And people consider Pyrolyn a hard-hitting range attacker because that's exactly what it is. I mean, it has 133 range attack for a reason. But it actually has solid bulk on the range side. I mean, 79 range defense and 119 HP with Peace of Mind actually makes Pyrolyn really tanky on the range side. There are times, and times again, I put it into a range attacker and it does work. And since air-type moves are neutral against you and give you a +2, yeah, Pyrolyn could do some amazing work. It's not just as a range tank, but as a hard-hitting attacker. This is probably one of the few Loomians on the list that can hit extremely hard in return, as well as being very tanky. Pyrolyn also has Rejuvenate, which also gives it a massive advantage as well, because it's able to get health back. And plus that Fire, Earth, and Ancient are very good moves to hit other Loomians with. And that's why Pyrolyn is even in the top 5. It can tank hits on the range side and also hit hard in return. The reason why it is number 5 and not higher is because other Loomians have a lot better range defense and tank hits better than Pyrolyn, but it is worth mentioning Pyrolyn on this list because Fanning Flame and also it's pretty high range bulk. So that's it. Pyrolyn is number 5 on this list. And it makes sense because, you know, it tanks a lot of range hits, especially after a few Peace of Minds. Number 4 onto this list is actually going to be odd. Guess what, guys? It's Gasstroke. Wow. Gasstroke is on a top 5 list. Oh my gosh. But there is one reason why it's on a top 5 list. 115 HP, 115 range defense. This is probably the bulkiest range tank in the entire game. While it doesn't have the highest range defense, it's definitely the bulkiest because of its higher health stat. It can also heal with photosynthesis. And it has a move called Stratagem. Stratagem uses your range defense as your offensive stat. It makes Gasstroke hits pretty hard. Yes, it is very weak on the melee side. I mean, a toddler can probably do half health to a Gasstroke. But it has Briar Block. Briar Block can chip melee attackers, which can absolutely help it out. It also has Ungracious Host, which is a very good ability. It makes it so life-draining moves hurt the opposing Loomian instead of actually healing them. And yeah, and you also have Poison, so you can Poison Stall, heal, and hit toxic types with Stratagem. That's why Gasstroke is number 4, and it actually did very well in the battles I've done with it. I mean, 20 damage on a crit from an Eliguana? That is crazy. 20 damage on a crit. That's unheard of in Loomian Legacy. And that's why Gasstroke is number 4. It's not in the top 3 because, you know, Gasstroke still struggles. But, yeah. Number 3 onto the list is actually going to be another oddball. Terraclaw. Yeah. A Loomian with 52 range defense. But it has Slick Shell, which doubles it. So, 52 to 104. Well, 54, so 108. And then you add the 200 attack TPs, or range defense TPs, and boom. All of a sudden, you're the tankiest range tank in the game. Because of Slick Shell and TPs, you are the tankiest range tank in the entire game. You also hit pretty hard. 120 attack is pretty good for a ranged tank. And it has amazing coverage and can actually heal health back with Parasitize, which makes Terraclaw amazing. You could just counter Loomians just by swapping into its range hits. It can also tank quite a few melee hits as well. It's one of the few range tanks that can actually tank on the melee side as well, which is pretty impressive. The only reason it's not higher is because it is a bug type, it is weak to Icicle Traps, and Stratasaur is also a problem. And also you need to run Health Amulet on it. You're kind of forced to run Health Amulet on it to make it worthwhile. But this thing can live multiple super effective hits from a Wintrix and Fernix. It can even live multiple hits from a Deludrix. This thing is that tanky on the range side. It's probably the tankiest range tank in the game, but there are 2 range tanks which are better overall. So let's get to them right now. Number 2 onto the list is actually going to be Stratasaur. Yep, Stratasaur. While it doesn't have as high as range defense and health compared to the other range tanks so far, It has a lot going for it. It has pretty high attack, pretty solid melee defense, so it can tank on the melee side. Pretty good speed. It's one of the fastest range tanks in the game. It also has Gust to get rid of barbs and traps. It also has Magnify, so it can get the +2. You also have Jet Stream, which can lower the opposing speed of a Loomian. Energy Surge to hit ancient types and metal types. There is so much that goes with Stratasaur. You even have Perch, which can even heal you with ease. And your typing and your defensive typing is so good that you only have 2 weaknesses, fire and electric. That works amazingly, and you can destroy a lot of Loomians with this thing. You can wall anything in the game with this thing unless they have a blaze or electric move. And also, this can hard counter any bug in the entire game. The only bug that has a potential chance of beating you is actually Terraclaw, and even then, that's only in certain situations. Stratasaur is definitely one of the best range tanks in all of Loomian Legacy, and when used correctly, which I haven't unfortunately, but when used correctly, this thing can absolutely destroy any team and tank any hits from the opposing team. So yeah, Stratasaur being number 2, but I think we all know who number 1 is going to be. So yeah, let's get to that right now. But before that, let's actually do honorable mentions, because yeah, we have 2 of them. We have Eliguana. Yes, Eliguana is an honorable mention. There's a couple reasons for that. One, you know, it can't hit any plant type. I mean, Tata, Chartiki, and Nevermare can straight up counter it. That's why it's not on the list. But it has Lightning Rod, which can give it a +1, and Magnify, which is great setup for it. I was thinking about putting it over Pyrolyn, but I decided to keep it off the list because Pyrolyn has better offense. But Infernix is also on the list. The Power Napper Return to Sender Infernix. This has high range defense and pretty solid health, while having an ability that can heal itself. The reason why Infernix is off the list, though, is because it's kind of gimmicky and it tends to struggle. It's a Loomian that sounds amazing on paper, but tends to struggle when you actually use it. So I decided to keep Infernix off the list. Number 1, the best range tank in all of Loomian Legacy is Venolin. There is so much that goes with Venolin. It's tied for the highest range defense in the entire game with Nimue. It has solid health. It has Charadic and lower ranged defense, meaning you can hit hard in return. You have Adaptive Assault. You can throw poisons and stall stuff down. You're a Toxic type to get rid of Icicle Traps. You can run Barter and Heavy Shackles. Mud Spatter to hit fire types. And this thing is just amazing. And since it's a pure Toxic, it only has 2 weaknesses, Earth and Mine. And other than Telekinetic Sweep, there are not many Loomians that use good mind melee moves to take you out. You can live a Foul Chant from a Sachi. You can live a Cycle Slap from a Metatoad. This thing is so good, and its utilizability makes it one of the best Loomians in the game. It's definitely one of the best range tanks in the entire game, considering it can lower speed with Mud Spatter, Adaptive Assault, Charade, Rejuvenate, Barter Heavy Shackles. It does so much. That's all you need to know. This Loomian is very overpowered, and definitely one of the best range tanks in the entire game. And even though it might not have the best stats compared to other Loomians, it just tends to do the job so well, so many times. This thing is constantly walling ranged attackers, and that's why Venolin is the best range tank in the whole entire game. So yeah, Venolin, number 1. And here it is, the best range tank in all of Loomian Legacy. What do y'all think are the best range tanks in all of Loomian Legacy in the comments below? And if you want me to do more honorable mentions, just tell me in the comments below, and I will continue to do them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me showcasing the top 5 range tanks in all of Loomian Legacy, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!